Word choices. Have any of you ever been in a situation kind of like this with your significant other, okay? Where your words just kind of are not in sync with one another, okay? And then you're sitting there wondering, what is it that I said, or why am I even still in this relationship? What is it that happens when two people are so in sync and then for some reason they're out? So has anyone ever had that experience where, so in love and then all of a sudden no more? Or has anyone ever said something themselves and wished you could have pulled those words back? Or even watched them come out of your mouth and go, oh no, right? I know I've been there. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what happens with using words and how they can be not only toxic in your relationship, but they can be toxic to you as well. And maybe not. Okay. So just quickly, who am I? As Brooke said, I'm Gail Kraft. I'm a coach, transformational leader now that I've had some amazing training with some amazing people. And I work with clients who are stuck in their career or stuck with their business, and they just need to go to the next level. And I just help them find their way. And a lot of the work I do is through language, right, Karen? It's through how do I change the way that I look at things, right? And it's really amazing. And again, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, yay, for taking time out and being here, okay? It's still the middle of the week. You still have to go to the office tomorrow. So thank you very much for taking your time and spending it with me, and spending it with Scott, and spending it with Linda Ann. So today's objectives. We're going to take steps, we're going to make a list, and we're going to practice steps to avoid the fatality of your words. And I mean fatality. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, but I will tell you that there was a time in my life where I was very good with my language, very good in a very bad way, because I was very defensive. And I didn't waste time. I went for the jugular, ripped you down, and went on, and didn't even realize I was doing it. You have no idea. And I was oblivious because it was just part of my DNA. And then we're going to make a list of some words, and you're going to see some words that are destructive that you might be using in your life, and let's kind of change those words and use them in a better way. And then daily reframing practices so that you will continue to get better and better and better with how you use your words, not only from an interpersonal perspective, but the first person that you have an interpersonal relationship with is yourself, okay? And so what are you thinking, and what's the language you're using for yourself that you may not even realize? But a little bit about me. This is how I grew up. I grew up in the streets of Boston, Dorchester, Mattapan, Roxbury. That's where I was born. And honestly, I had no one at home. I was a change of life baby. Mom passed when I was 3. My father worked nights. That's where I spent my time. That's where I got my lessons. And so you want to talk about why I had the type of language I had? Those were my role models. I was very fortunate that at the age of 16, I left my father and I moved into the suburbs with my brother and sister-in-law. What a culture shock that was, okay? To, really, whew. But I started to see that there was another aspect to life. And the first job I had, because by the way, I was just a woman or a girl, and I was just going to grow up and have babies, so no, I'm not going to college. So I didn't. I did grow up, and I did have babies, and then got divorced and went, oh crap. Now what? But I did start to notice that there was more to life than what I thought there was. And I did start to notice that in order for me to be successful in business and in life, I had to at least change the way I talked. Now, I didn't stop the jugular thing for a while, but I did start working on that Dorchester accent that no one really understood, and couldn't be taken seriously, okay? I worked a lot about using my words in a way, and my tonality in a way that I could get respect in the business world. Otherwise, even it didn't matter how smart I was, no one was going to believe me. So I knew that image, see what I learned, was how to take my language and be free. I also started to learn how to be a little bit more positive with my language, because at the age of 28, I was running Mass Teachers Association. They had called me and said they were in trouble. They were about to lose their most important vendor and they were going to go under. And they called and said, Gail, I know that you can fix this. I want you to come and do this for us. And I thought, well, they couldn't go down. I mean, there was only one way to go up. This was a great opportunity. Why not? I didn't realize then that I could have put them out of business. But it's because of the language that I used and the way that I communicated with the vendors that were ready to walk out the door that they gave us another chance. I said, listen, what is it that's not working? We definitely want to continue working with you. We love the camaraderie. We love doing business with you. What is it that we're not doing right? How can we satisfy you? We need to see what success is in order for us to achieve that with you. And then I worked with the staff. What's not working right here? What's the workflow? How can that be changed? How can we maximize based on the people that we have to get better results? What other business can we bring in here that would fit within the constructs of what we're doing, that would help us bring in more income? Within less than a year, within 8 months, we were looking at our books and we had to actually buy computers because we were made a profit and we did not want to pay taxes. So from about to go under to having to watch out for paying taxes, all because of, you know, a few things, street smarts, but also my language of knowing to ask for support rather than telling people what to do, eliciting what they want, eliciting what they need, and finding out a way of how to do that together. So, the steps we're going to take, first of all, relax and smile. Okay, so many people don't smile anymore, right? And it's really one of the best exercises to do is just put a smile on your face. So before you walk out the door in the morning, it doesn't matter how you feel, shake it out and put a smile on your face. Okay, and it doesn't matter how crappy you feel, put your shoulders back, put your head up, okay guys, I'm sorry, chin up, boobs out, girls, it's showtime. You wanna go out there and really put a smile on your face. That will change, because you're changing your physiology, and it doesn't matter what's going on in here. As soon as you change your physiology, you're changing your state, and you'll start feeling a little bit better about yourself, okay? Again, and then what attitude are you presenting? One of the companies that I worked for when I was out here in San Diego, first out here in San Diego, I actually took this job only because I needed a job. So it didn't resonate with me. It wasn't something in alignment with any of my core values. I didn't even consider my core values. I needed a job to pay the bills because I moved out here. And it didn't resonate with me, and we weren't aligned in core values, and I ended up having an attitude about being where I was. Because, well, why did they even hire me? They're not even using my skills. They really are stupid here, or well, I really don't like it here. So imagine me going into work feeling that way. Although I did functionally a great job, I didn't do it with the best attitude. And it was the first job I got fired from. Wonder why that happened, okay? So choose your words, and we want to avoid negative words. Negative words are so infused in our life today, in the way that we think and the way that we talk, we don't even realize that we're using it. We're going to do a little exercise in a little bit to kind of demonstrate that, okay? So our words can be toxic whether we mean them or not, both to the receiver or to ourselves. So if you're not careful with what you're saying, you are poisoning your relationships. You're poisoning your relationship with yourself. If you sat there and said, oh God, I hear this all the time. Oh God, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did that. Your subconscious mind goes, okay, oh God, I'm so stupid. Okay, let me go find stupid and be a little bit more about that because, hey, shit, I'm sorry guys, I am stupid, right? So, and people say that, especially that one, all the time. And people who have weight problems, well, oh my gosh, I'm so fat. Okay, let me go get some more so fat, add some more on there, right? Because your subconscious, okay, I'm so fat, I need to get more. So you've got those I am statements that you're working with. So let me tell you a little story, an airplane story. This is actually a true story. It's a couple on an airplane, a guy and a woman. And the guy says, I cannot believe that you take so much time and care in preparing to take this flight. I can't believe you wasted all that time just organizing stuff. And the woman says, oh, this is so much fun. You have no idea. I get so much pleasure in figuring out what clothes to wear, getting everything organized, packing everything just perfectly, looking at how gorgeous that suitcase looks and zip it up and get prepared for the flight. And the guy says, the most important part is the flight itself and the destination. Ouch. What's important to her was not what is important to him, and vice versa. Remember that first picture with the couples? There wasn't one bad word said, but there was a miscommunication and not a listening as to what is important to one versus what is important to the other. Okay, he would have been better off to have said something like, rather than, this is the most important part of it, is, well, I understand that that's really important to you, honey. I really kind of enjoy watching you get all lit up. But, for me, getting lit up is getting on the plane. So maybe together, you get lit up at the beginning and I get lit up during the trip. Maybe that's a perfect combination. Rather than saying, well, that's not what lights my boat, right? So it's a true story. And it's that type of conversation that can turn sour. And the guy or the woman can go, what just happened here, right? Have you ever had that conversation about what just happened here, right? So think a little bit about where the other person's map of the world is and what really is important, right, Brooke? You're like, this sounds very familiar, and you too, David. So I want you just for a moment to take out some paper. We gave you paper to write on, and I want you to think of a time where you might have chosen your words incorrectly. And just kind of like write down a sample, or if you can't think of a time, I'm sure you can. We've all had them. And just like write one or two sentences that maybe could have been better. What I'd like you to do now is just go through that sentence or two and circle the words that are negative words or the phrase that might be negative. So you might have something like, oh, well, I got up this morning and went to the store and, nothing really chimed. Everything looked terrible. I didn't buy anything because the food was awful. Okay? I might want to rephrase that. And I got up this morning and went to the store, and what I was looking for was not there. I had to go elsewhere. So it's still saying the truth. You want to speak your truth, and that's what's really important. You always want to speak your truth. You have to speak your truth. So it's not holding things back, but it's speaking your truth in a way that it honors yourself and the other person. It's an honoring of how you speak. Okay? So just take a moment and circle those words. And think of what you might want to put in there instead. And while you're doing that, I'll tell you a story about this particular exercise. I was managing a training department back east at John Hancock, and the manager of the auditing department came up to me and she said, we have to submit audits all the time, and our job is to find a problem. That's our job, is to look where there are opportunities. And, it's at the point where we don't want to do it anymore because we're tired of getting negative feedback. Can you teach us how to write our audit reports in a way that can be received by the business as an opportunity? And this is the exercise that I had them do. So write your reports and then take a red pen, circle every negative word, and rephrase that so that the business can receive it as an opportunity and not as something that you're doing wrong, right? So it's very, very interesting, yeah. So, and that's another, one of the things I was going through when I was doing the molding of myself with my accent and with my words, getting swears out and, serious swears out, and definitely getting rid of saying things like windle instead of window, okay? I would see the word after I said it and then see it corrected. So it's already come out wrong. And then the next time it would come out, I would see it coming out and I'd be going, no, because I know what the correct word is. But then the next time I would stop it in my mouth. So I'd be, but then I would correct it. And so eventually I would be saying window without windle somewhere in there. So it's that same process that we talk about. You can do that with your mind, with your words, with your writing. When you just pick little things to fix, not the whole enchilada. You've got your whole life to do the enchilada, right? Just a little bit at a time, and it starts to get better, okay? So here's some examples, what you might say and what you could say. Everything is ruined. Ruined. It's a disaster. This is frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. Okay, so you're acknowledging that frustration, that feeling, but you're also acknowledging it isn't the end of the world, right? So you put it back into perspective. Never. We love that word, never. The universal, right? Never. Never, right? Never? Never ever? That's not true. It's never ever. I know there was a time when this didn't work, or did work, but lately it seems like it's not. You know, especially in a relationship. Oh, especially in a relationship, because, you know, if it didn't work, you guys wouldn't have gotten together, right? So, you never listened to me. Well, that's not true. That's not true. But you can say, I know there was a time when you did listen to me, honey. I know there was a time when you heard my heart. But lately, you're checking out. Can we talk about that? Much better. Much better. Okay, so when you hear yourself say the word never, you can go, oh, Gail told me. Never say never, right? Or always, right? You always are mad when you come in from work. Always, maybe not always. But again, it seems lately that. You know, so you want to just soften the conversation because we do use these words in a way that exaggerates the situation, and our subconscious mind goes, oh, this happens all the time? Maybe I missed a few times. Let me go look for some times I might have missed, right? Because I think there were some good times, but there are gotta be more bad times, right? And so you start to forget about when things worked. So, and then relationships with yourself, you know, I'm always this, I'm always that. So become aware of your demands and change them into requests. That's basically what I'm doing, is softening them. And in a trick, you see me do this all the time now that I learned from Nurka, is the second you put your hand on your heart, you have to soften. And the second that you lean in, you're engaging them. So you're softening what you have to say, and you're inviting them into the conversation. Right? It's no longer a demand, it's an invite, just from your body language. And you can't say never, always, as soon as you do that, because you feel it. You've touched your heart and you're sending some vibration through it. So try it sometime and just feel what's going on, okay? You've circled your words, and I've had a few examples of what you can do. I'll give you a few minutes and see if you can rewrite the sentence that you used as an example in a way that might be a little bit more empowering, a little bit more positive, might invite a conversation rather than repel a conversation. You know, that might bring you a raise rather than open the door for you to leave, right? Might bring you the opportunity for the hours that you want versus the hours that you're given, right? Might be there. it makes the conversation more possible. And also for me, makes it easier to have the conversation if it's an invite. I'm no longer concerned about what I have to say. And while you're doing that, we're going to be going on next. I'm going to do a little pre-teaching or pre-framing to empowering questions. And I have a story from this week that I really want to talk about. And we covered empowering questions in the workshop that I was crewing. And during the exercise, one woman was walking around looking for Nurka. Nurka says, go see Gail. She came over and she said, can you help me with this question? And her intent was amazing. I just needed to change the beginning. I still wanted to keep her language, her words, because it's her empowering question, right? That next day, she got up on stage and she said, whatever it was, that empowering question, it manifested already. That is how powerful empowering questions are. It manifested while at the event. Unbelievable. I'm like, whoa! So anyway, we'll be doing that in a moment. Not just yet. So again, take a look at the potential of a positive language versus a negative language. And if there was a situation that you actually used that was real, imagine what the outcome would have been versus what it is if different language was used. And you have the capability to do that. If I can do it, believe me, anybody can do it. Oh, imagine this, empowering questions, okay? There is a structure. So our thoughts create the words and the language we speak. So it's our thoughts that create them, okay? The words we use direct our action. Okay, so our words are what directs our actions. Our language directs our thoughts. And our daily actions result in the sum total of what we call our life. So if you think about this progression, and if you agree that your thoughts create the words and the language we use, right? And the words we use direct our actions, and if you agree with that, then our daily actions result in the sum total of what we call our life. Then don't you also agree that we speak into existence our thoughts? Do you also agree that we manifest our reality with what we think and what we speak? Okay? Because you agree with these three, then you absolutely agree that we speak our life into existence. So you can change your life with your thoughts and what you speak. Okay? So I love this statement. So the suffering is the pain of holding on to that which no longer serves you. I don't know if any of you have experienced that, but I know I have. Absolutely have. Okay? Why cause your own suffering? Let it go. So there's a structure to empowering questions. There's presuppositions. So presupposition is either you're assuming something is working or you're assuming that it's not. So a presupposition, can anyone give me an example of a presupposition? David, you just finished 6 days. Not to pick on you.
And of course my mind goes blank.
So,
an example of a presupposition?
Yep.
It's really the outcome of what we want.
Right.
Like in the form of a question, how can I do something in order to have even more awareness of what a presupposition is?
Well, I know that I would love even more. Yummy. Mm-hmm. Yummy love. That's assuming that I'm already getting yummy, yummy love. Presupposition. Mm-hmm. I want even more. That's an empowering statement. Okay. That's, you're right, right? But that's the presupposition is there is an assumption in every sentence that something is or is not happening. Okay, that something is or is not there. So Terry is taking pictures. Terry is an amazing photographer. Okay, so the presupposition is that Terry, what's the presupposition of the fact that Terry is an amazing photographer? that, that I know her work. Okay, so there is a presupposition that I know her work. Otherwise, how could I judge or make that statement? So there is a presupposition. There's also a presupposition that I know Terry, right? So if you take a look at the structure of any sentence, you can actually chunk different sections of it and see there's a presupposition of this, there's a presupposition of that. So, and I could go crazy and drive you nuts, but we don't want to go to that depth. Okay, it's time bound for an empowering question. So what do I need to do? What more do I need to do right now to be sure that today when you leave here, you understand empowering questions, you bring that into your life? What more do I do? So which means I'm already doing something right now to be sure that you bring something today. So I want to be sure when you leave here that the value that I want you to bring out of all of this mostly is this, is the presuppositions and empowering questions into your life. I'm writing a book on empowering questions, 365 empowering questions, and the lovely lady over there is going to take some pictures to support some of those those questions. And those questions get better and better and better. And a lot of them are from my clients. My clients send me every day, what are the 3 wonderful things that I've done today? And they start to get real, and I will respond back, really? You can only think of one, right? As well as an empowering question. And I typically rewrite that question so that it is more powerful. One of my clients, I read you that email today, right? Got in touch with me Wednesday and said, I have an interview on Friday. I don't think I can do it. I'm so nervous. I'm so afraid. It's been so long since I've been on an interview. I don't know if I'm good enough, unworthy, on this, on that, right? Okay, so I wrote her an empowering question, right? Say, I want you to, to say this before you go to bed. Say this when you get up. Walk through the door. Say it out loud. Put it, I want you to say it, say it, say it, say it, say it. She sent me an email today and was something like, this is the most powerful interview I have ever had. I was so sure of what I had to say. I was so confident when I walked in there. Wednesday she was on, and today she's so from the empowering questions. Okay, so you can turn your life around in a day or two with empowering questions. I love it. So what you focus on expands, whether it's what you want or not. So if you're focusing on the positive and you're focusing on being empowered, and if you're focusing on moving things from a great and making it bigger, brighter, beautiful, it's going to happen. Why not practice doing an empowering question? And this time, I will ask someone to give me one of their empowering questions and see if I can pump it up a notch. So let's take a few moments and just write something that you might want to accomplish in it could be the next day, the next week, the next year. It might be something that you want to change in yourself. We have a weakness or something, that a little uncertainty, let's say, that is part of your life that you would like to go. So how can I be even more empowered in this particular situation? How can I find more bravery, more courage in such and such a situation? So think of an empowering question that you might want to write that could change your life around and make it even better today. Make it so. Just one, Scott. It's like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. Because you could, and once they start flowing, I have less than 100 left to go from 365. Yeah. You've been getting really good at yours too. Yours have been awesome.
I do like cascading ones, like one question leads into another.
Yeah. Yours become a manual sometimes. But they're good. They really are. It'd be good if you have a major goal to write a really nice, empowering statement for that to be like your mantra, and then little ones every day for when you get up. How do you want to show up that day? Why I have 365 that I'm working on. How do I want to show up that day? What is it that I want to bring into existence that day? When I walk out the door into a client's office or into an interview with a client or an assessment meeting, what do I want to bring with me? How do I want to show up? What do I want those results to be? How do I want to be in control? Empowered without control. How do I invite them in to play whatever it is that I want them to play with me? Because it's not work, it's play. Okay. Anybody brave enough to share? Sure, David.
This is in context to, like, in a working environment.
Okay.
If I come in and say, oh, I've got some ideas, I can help make this better.
Yeah,
which
okay. Doesn't
is
work.
a good way to lose rapport.
Yeah.
So, reframing, how can I help improve quality and bridge communication gaps for even better understanding of our company's values and implementation of even more efficient workflow?
Right now.
Right
Yes.
now.
Very
Got that
good.
part?
Yeah, it's okay. That's okay. But that's excellent. So that's something that you could bring with you into work and help you, especially if you get it so that it's automatic and you see a situation where you want it changed. If you can bring that up before I walk in there, you know, how can I approach this in a much more holistic manner that can, you know, bridge the gap and so forth. That would be so much better, and it becomes natural. It becomes natural, especially when you start practicing them. You find yourself talking in empowering questions, and sometimes people look at you like you're a little nuts, but
Sometimes it's like,
no, that's when I talk quantum linguistics, that people look at me like crazy.
sometimes it's how can
You-
I plant the
I mean,
seed?
this is more of a, maybe I'm not understanding it right, but this is more of a personal goal that I would like to set for myself.
That's fine.
Is that something that,
You can use it for anything,
so
yes.
like if I wanted to get, you know, one new customer per month,
Right,
like that's a goal I want to set for myself.
right.
So,
So what more do I need to do today to be sure that the next phone call I make and the next marketing challenge that I reach is successful enough to bring in one or more additional clients every month. And you want to say or more, right? Because you want to make it bigger, right? Because you want the opportunity for more. You don't want.
say that out loud a lot.
You don't have to say it out loud.
Okay.
No, but up here,
Okay.
right? But definitely the or more, because you really want more than one, right?
If you know my business, one is awesome, right? Per month
Or more.
or more.
Or more. Because wouldn't it be nice for you to be in a position where you have to hire someone to help you because you have the or more? There you go, right? And it wouldn't even be better that you had so many or more that you didn't have to work at all because you had so many people working for you, right? So you want the or more. You want to hit that critical mass so that, because the whole point is to love your job, or love it, or it's not a job, love your occupation or what you're engaged with, right?
Yeah.
To the point where you could also have the time to love your life, right? Right. Anyone else? Karen, did you write it? No?
Just in my brain was like, how can I have even more time to garden this week?
Okay, so yes, because you love, yeah, I know. Get that dirt in my fingernails. So what do I need to do right now to be sure that I have absolutely more time to get into that garden this week as many times as possible? So, you know, it doesn't have to, yeah, absolutely. And I want you to kind of word that so you can almost smell the dirt when you talk about it or feel it. You know, when you talk about it, because that gets your other sensors going as well and makes it crystallize. Yeah. So it's, you know, amazing what you can do with words, isn't it? So make it a daily routine. Another client that I had, we formulated her question. Hers was a statement more so than a question. She was a massage therapist, and it started to become a problem with her physically, but not only that, she was broke. She owned her home, and her garage had a hole in the roof, and she did not have the money to have that fixed. Her house was in disarray, no feng shui, no air, right? She was so blocked. She says, Gail, I want to learn Reiki because that is much better on my body, but I don't have the money to take classes. So we wrote out, what is it that I need to do to be sure, da, 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 da. She had it on her refrigerator. She had to say it before she went to bed. She had to say it in the morning. She could not walk through a doorway without saying it, and I had her say it out loud, right? Within 2 weeks, she was down at the pet store, which she went to all the time, and had a conversation with the cashier who said, Reiki, I own a Reiki circle that we meet once a week. We'd be happy to have you join us and we'll teach you for free. This woman that she saw all the time. So I'll tell you physically what's going on. Does anyone here not know what the reticular activation system is in your brain? You don't? Okay, yeah. So anyone ever buy a new car? And you get into the new car, and all of a sudden you see your car everywhere, right? It's not that you're a trendsetter, right? It's that you were not aware of those cars before, but now that you're in one and you have one, you're more aware, right? You're more conscious of what's going on. What this does is the opportunities are there for you every second, every moment of every day, but you don't see them because your brain can only take in so much. You're stimulating your brain to say, okay, you want me to pay more attention to this. Okay, sharpen it. And you open up that RAS, so that you now are aware of what's going on around you. And you're able to act on it. So part of some of the questions I ask, especially when it's my business, so I'll take the typical, help me be even more aware of the infinite opportunities around me today. And I add, and have me have the capacity to act on just the right ones for my business immediately. So to have the capacity, not only recognize it, but I want to act on it. So I want the capacity to act on it. I have an amazing opportunity that came up this week that many of you already heard about. And for some reason, the past couple of years, I've been purging my house. Been getting rid, I don't wear this anymore. I even got rid of my TV. I got rid of furniture I don't use. I have very few clothes now. Just get rid of it. And the house is, open and feng shui. And I am going to be moving. An opportunity was offered to me this weekend. Amazing opportunity. And it'll be no big piece of cake for me to move. Right? And I didn't even realize that I was clearing the space for the empowering question that I was asking for just the right opportunity to reach my dream, right? It just happens. Your body will tell you before your brain realizes. Your body knows everything before your brain. We were talking about detoxing. Your body will tell you, hey, you're not paying attention to me. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of arthritis. I'm going to give you a little bit of constipation. I'm going to start giving you migraines. I'm going to start affecting your sight. Hello, when are you going to listen to me? Right? Your body tells you what's going on. So, So it's kind of interesting. This has the power to transform your world. So today, just to remind you what we covered, to transform your world. I gave you steps to take. I gave you lists on how to make a list. And I give you practices with empowering questions. It's all it takes. That is all it takes. As much as I would love being a coach, you don't need a coach if you do the practices. But you have to do the practices. That's what a coach helps you do. That is to get the framework for those practices and to stay on track. Gail Craft Bravery in Your Business. It's been a pleasure.